All right, guys, so I'm here with an update with the ChessUP 2. In their latest update, they actually added Lichess, and I think a lot of people have been waiting on this. Again, of course, this is they've already had chess.com integrated with the board right from the get-go, but it's just another option in case you were thinking about buying this board. Now, if you're, say, a dedicated Lichess fan, well, you have that option on this board. So it's just like any other what I want to say, logging into chess.com, where you just scroll down to leadchess.org and you click lead chess and you're logged in. It's automatically defaulted to 10 plus 15. You can even play a friend if you'd like. Oops, let me hit cancel here for a second because I'm not ready to play yet. And you can play a friend if you like, or you can go in here and pick rated. You could pick random sides. You can pick these types of rapid controls here if you'd like, and they also have these classical controls here as well. So let's see what type of game here we're going to try to play here. I guess a 15 plus 10 makes sense because I still feel like a 10-second delay is the best option here. So let me go ahead and go back and let's do random side 10 plus 15, and we're going to click play. All right, let me set the board up. I just want to move my phone out of the way here so I can just wanted to record that little bit so you can see it close up. Let's go back. I guess it's prompting me again to do that. All right, now we'll go ahead and click play. So hopefully we can get a game real quick here, unrated on Lee Chess. Lee Chess is pretty good. If I can't get one of this half control, maybe I'll back out and do, say, a 10 plus 5 minute game. But we'll see. See if we can straighten the pieces up in the meanwhile. And I got my other chair today, so if I actually get the white pieces, I'll just walk around the other side of the board, see what happens here. Oh, actually, I got the black pieces. So let me walk on the other side here. I got everything set up here, so I can do that. All right. I'm gonna deviate. I'm not gonna deviate from the Caricon today, but I'm in the process of learning another open. I think is practical for, I say, people less than maybe 2,200 to play. That'll be probably a video coming up, but because I'm prepping myself to play in some tournaments this year, so I just want to have some different landscapes to play chess on. Because again, the big thing is that if you keep playing the same opening over and over again, that's great to get that pattern inside of your inside of your repertoire, but you also need to branch out so like you won't get caught off guard by some just positions that you're just not familiar with. Now in this position here, a lot of people recommend going h5. And that's really not a bad move. I've always toyed with the idea of c5 here to deploy my queen on h5 with check, re-grab the pawn, so I can put another piece in the center of the board, just to reduce the space of white. Also, there is some lines I think I've discussed, and again, it's not anything I think that's great to play, but some lines where you can go ahead and sack the pawn on c5 and trade queens and push e5 next, hitting this pawn, forcing him to do something about that somehow or another. And just for more rapid development, and bishop comes out at some point to f5, depending on the situation. So what shall we do here? Do we want to play something exciting or not? That is the actual question here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just do this. But also, if you give him this, you're giving him a chance to check here. So let's go ahead and just push c5 here. Again, this is not necessarily recommended, but it's probably semi-playable. It's just again, it's just one of these elements just to kind of throw somebody out, because you can tell he's clearly studied Carol Khan and probably don't get this move that often, because I thought he'd pause here, but I mean, I would just take the pawn. There was really nothing else to do here. I mean, he could pull his knight out. I mean, he could always do that. If he pull his knight out, then that might be a bad idea. Okay, bishop check. Okay. So we're just going to go to pull our knight here. Because now Right now, I'm actually threatening queen h5 check. So it's kind of forcing him to do something here. I mean, he could take my pawn. I mean, take my knight. That's why I say I don't recommend this. It's not the greatest, but it definitely gives your opponent a little something to think about. That's all we're trying to do here. Now, on the flip side, now if he takes my knight and then goes pawn takes pawn, after I've obviously recaptured the bishop back, if I go queen a5 check, recapture the pawn. Oh man, what just happened here? Let's do this here. Let's take that. Because now he's at another crossover. What did he just drop a piece that quick? I think so. Queen a5 check. You're always supposed to watch that check there when you put a bishop over there. That's definitely resignable. He may not resign. I mean, it is an unrated game. So, but still. Okay. Well, I guess he's not going to resign, so that's okay with me. That is totally resignable, but we'll see what our opponent does here. He does have a pawn in the middle of the board. And another thing, I wouldn't dare take that pawn on a2. Now here's a lesson right here for people who are I would say lower rated. Again, I don't know what I would define as lower rated at this for this type of advice I'm about to give. But taking this pawn right here, even though it's another free pawn, you're just giving your opponent just something to play for here, which absolutely, in my view, makes no sense. What you should be trying to strive, you've already got a winning position. You're up a bishop here. There's no need. I mean, you're not lacking in development. There's no need to do anything crazy. What you want to do is try to trade a piece or force some undesirable situation by your opponent, such as going, I could just fianchetto my queenside bishop, which could probably be the most reasonable thing to do. But I'm going to go ahead and pull out my bishop to g4, which is going to pin this knight. And the only two things going to happen is I'm going to be threatening this pawn here, or he's going to push up f3 to block that pin, something like that, which I don't know what he's going to do, but that would be my very first instincts. And it also gives me castling rights to my queen side, but also allows me to be able to push up e4 blocking in my blocking in this bishop. So, and I also got a retreat for the bishop on h5 because, again, if knight takes bishop, knight takes knight. So we're just what we're going to do. We're just going to go here. We just want to force some undesirable stuff here is all we want to do. Yeah, I kind of figured he'd do that. And we can just, we can back up bishop up to here, or we can back it up over here. Actually, it might even be better. Yeah, let's just back it up to here, because, I mean, there's really nothing. Let's just back it to here. I mean, because if he goes bishop, I mean, knight takes knight, I mean, that's totally fine with me. I mean, okay, castles, which is was expected here. I could just keep going here with my development here. I'm not trying to do anything crazy here. Because don't forget, and even if he pushes pawn, there's also this possibility of queen to b6 check. It's just basically accounting for all your resources that you may have at some or may need at some point. I believe my next move, just normal development. There's nothing crazy to do here. There's absolutely nothing crazy to do here. Okay, perfect. So now, I'd rather have my bishop on g3, and so he just kind of gave me just a sort of a free move for that, because again, it's not really doing anything on h5. So therefore, if I go back bishop to g3, he just gave me a tempo move on his rook. Now, technically, I could still take a pawn at this point, but I'm not even going to take the pawn because there's no need to. There's just no need to do anything crazy. Because again, that's sort of the cardinal rule when you're in these positions like this is there's no need to stress yourself out. Oops. Well, we'll go ahead and take this. Maybe he's letting his little brother play on his account or something because I can't imagine a 2,000 rated player just dropping pieces like this. But he might. Who knows? He just might. There's just no telling. Now I could get a little fancy here and go here. Now this is sort of a tactical shot going knight to h5 because if knight takes knight, then queen takes knight, then I'll be forking two pieces. So let's just see what he does here. Now he could, on the other hand, go, oh man, I didn't even realize that he could have went knight here. And could I have saved my knight? Yeah, I could have saved it. Yes, I could have saved my knight. And so we're just going to back up to here. Now, if he went here, I could have just went, let me see. Yeah, he actually that was a blunder I just did, actually. I'm talking about he could have went here, but he didn't see that. But again, even I missed. But I still feel like I'd be winning. I'm up the exchange, so my bad. But again, talking and playing chess is a skill, so I'm getting better at it. But at least I did recognize my blunder immediately versus not seeing it at all. Because even if he would have did that, oh no, I could have just went. No, that's right. I couldn't go that queen here, queen here, queen here. Now I was thinking about if I could have sacrificed the exchange, rook and a piece for my queen, but nah, that wouldn't have made any sense. I was toying with the idea of knight takes knight when he pushes pawn. So when pawn takes pawn and I take this with check, but at the same time, his pawn would have been hitting my knight, so it wouldn't have been worthwhile to do that. Let's see what he uncorks here. Not bad, not bad. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and take this here. Let's go ahead and take that. There's no need not to take that at all. Next, we'll probably just go ahead and bring the bishop out, see if we can get a trade here. He's dropping a pawn over here on 8. Again, there's no need to take anything like this. Yeah, that's just strange. Yeah, he must be letting his little brother play on the account or something here. Okay. I see what he wants to do. He just wants to just wants to push his, just wants to push his queen. I mean, push his pawn. He probably wants to push here, which totally makes sense. I mean, I could just, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and try to trade some pieces because, again, he got loose pawns and things like that. So I'm going to sack a pawn, sort of. I'm sacking it based on him having very, very loose stuff all around the board. Because if he goes F5, I'm just going to castle, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, check. And then I just go to king to h1, and now I'm threatening to trade his rook. So once we get that off the board, because technically he's down a full rook at this point. Not technically, he's down a full rook. So then he has this pawn over here hanging. I'm threatening a trade. If he keeps his queen here on e6 after check, then I can sort of infiltrate here with my what I want to say, with my queen. But now I'm going to infiltrate again this way. Let's go here. Now we're threatening to win a pawn here with queen check. Queen takes pawn check and making him trade queen. So he has to sort of do something about that. I mean, I can even castle queenside. But the important thing to remember in positions like this is that rushing gets you nowhere. Because I actually made a blunder a while ago, but that didn't come from blundering. It just came from talking. But I feel like I had a way to get out of that. Oh, nice. That's not a bad move, actually. That's actually pretty good. So if he goes here, here, yeah. Okay, so let's just go ahead and castle. Let's go ahead and do that. And no, we're not giving the exchange back. I could trade one of my rooks for his knight, but no, I'm not going to do that. That's all. But don't forget, that's also an option. If you're upset in a case like this, you're up a full rook. Don't forget, you could, in an opportune moment, you could trade your rook for a piece, and that would be totally acceptable to do that. Okay. We'll just we'll just go here, kick his knight, because if he goes here, bring this over to here, then I'll be threatening these two pieces here. And then yeah, let's kick the knight first. Let's kick the knight first. Now there is a possibility here of him wanting to bring his rook over and threaten my queen. I could technically take my yeah, I was thinking he'd do that. Now here's a possibility, just to wreck his day, is that I could trade all of my pieces for his. But do I want to do that? That is a possibility. Now I could just back up like normal, and yeah, I could just back. I could do that, and I could still win this game. But why would I want to do that when I could just go queen? Let me make sure. Let's verify here. Queen to. Yeah, queen just forces a trade. Queen to d5, I think, forces a trade here. Okay, so let's go here. This right here forces a trade because his knight is under attack. I mean, I should have made this game exciting. It just took pawn takes knight, and then when rook takes and just took that, then I would have had three pieces for his queen, so which would have been more exciting. But I'm just going to take the simple approach here. I'm not going to try to do anything fancy, as they say. Obviously, he's going to go queen takes queen, probably knight here, probably threatening my rook on a8, and the pawn that's going to be on d5. And then, but I'm not giving him a pawn. I'm just going to slide my rook over to d1, and then my next move would be I'm going to slide my rook over to d8, and then my next move is going to be d7 to run his knight out of here. Yep, that's going to be the next move. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and run his knight out of here because I'm not giving him a free pawn. Nope, that's not going to happen. We're just going to go like this. Actually, if he messes around, he might get his knight trapped. Actually, his knight is trapped. No, it's not trapped yet. Because I think about if I want bishop here, but he could then take the knight. Take my pawn. If I want bishop to d6, he can go knight takes pawn. So I'm going to push f6 first. But don't forget, this is an endgame here. We're going to push f, but then he goes, okay, that's not a bad move. He thought about that. But can we stop that somehow? Oh, yes. I know what to do about this. I know exactly what to do about this. It's going to be another tactical shot because he's probably going to bring his bishop here to protect his knight, put bishop on f4, but then I'm going to just go bishop to d d2. Yeah. Okay. So he takes knight. Okay. Now that's something. So he goes there. That's not a bad move actually. That's a pretty good one. We're just going to back up here. See, there's no need to give him any counterplay whatsoever. There's no need to give any counterplay whatsoever. Just back that up. Threaten a pawn here. Because again, I could technically go pawn takes knight, and he goes king, rook takes my knight, but that's just giving him too much counterplay for no reason. Because right now I'm threatening this pawn. I'm also threatening to bring the rook over to here. It's just there's no need to do any of that. But don't forget, you're in an end game. You got plenty of time, and yeah, he steps his king up. Now I bring this over to here. Yep, and now I get the counterplay. Because the only move here is to bring his knight here, and I'm just going to take it. And then that's going to just help me out. Yep. Okay, then I go here. Then I go pawn takes, rook takes pawn. Yep, perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping to see. Because don't forget, everything is on white that's on this row, so his bishop can never attack anything. Now he can go here, which doesn't really help anything, but don't forget now I'm threatening this pawn here. So I'm the one getting all the counterplay here. Then my next move will actually be rook to b4. Now we'll say this. Now there's also this possibility, there's this weird possibility of getting back rank checkmate here. There's this very weird possibility here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this first. Solicit a trade of rooks to get him off of this row. So now if he trade rooks, takes rooks, that's totally fine with me. But the only reasonable spot he can move his rook is over here to b5. And then I'm going to go knight takes pawn. There's this weird possibility of that. So don't forget, just because, yeah, he goes here. So don't forget this pawn here is protected. Now I could just simply do this here. Okay, that's sweet. And how did we know he was going to do that? But see, the thing is that let's see what we got here. We go check first. No, we go check first. I'll tell you what, we'll keep it simple. We'll just go here first. And then what I'll do is once he moves his bishop to threaten mate. Yeah, I knew he'd do that. Now once he does that, we can actually just back this up to here. No, we want to back this one up. And then we're just going to bring our knight here. He is playing. I mean, you could accidentally slip in a game like this, but when I knew he was going to do that, so now this right here runs the bishop out, and then the next thing I'm going to do is step up with my king. Actually, I can just push my pawn. But I'm not even going to do that. I'm not going to take the risk. I could step up with my king, step to the side. I mean, I could do anything. But I'm just going to step up with it to keep it simple. Okay. Then we're just going to step up here. Make sure that that's not even a consideration anymore. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's actually a pretty good check, I gotta say. If I go here, check, and I slip over. Yeah, oh man, that would be crazy if I lost that like that. So well, let's just go here. Okay, that's okay. Let's do that. Let's do a counter threat here. Okay, kind of figured he might would do that. Let's go ahead and take this now. My next move is put my bishop back in the middle of put that back in the middle of the board here. Okay. Now we're just gonna step up to here. Oh no, I could just take this here. There we go. He was fighting though. There we go. He was fighting. There we go. Good game. That was actually a pretty good game. He did sort of pick himself up and had some threats there at the end. I got to say, my opponent, while he did blunder some pieces, he definitely spicing the game up to about the best extent it could have been spicing up. So I'll give him mad kudos for that. That was a pretty good game. But anyway, that's been Lichess, just a good demonstration that it actually works well. I've played a couple of games already. Works just fine, just like chess.com and any other thing you can get on this board. So if that was holding you back from this board, well, now you got Lichess. And well, if you already own this board, well, that's just another feature that I'm sure that you are going to love. So take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.